Hello and welcome to another episode of Uma 101. So we're hurtling towards creating our own wardrobe recipes, but before we do, I want to quickly have a look at something that I keep putting off, but we can't put it off any longer, which is having a look at our character colours. Now, I've got our usual starting point, which is a blank scene with an Uma in there, so if we press play, we should have a nice naked male Uma like we always start with. There he is. Looking good. Okay, so as you can see with this game object, he has his dynamic character avatar on there. So what I want to look at is this character colors drop down. Now if I drop it down, yeah, there's not a lot in there at the moment, but what we're going to do, we're going to run and see what happens. And as soon as we start to run, you'll see this list gets populated. So 3 items have appeared here, something called skin, something called hair, and something called eyes. So let's have a fiddle with these. Let's mess around with the skin colour. Oh, yes. Excellent, this looks good. So we've now got a red guy. Let's mess around with this metallic, so we can change the red value here, actually changes the metallic, and the alpha, I believe, changes the gloss. So we can, wow. That's one strange looking guy. Okay, so you can see here, obviously, we can fiddle around with our colours. However, our problem being, once we stop this and start again, that information has gone. Right, so where do these come from and how do they work? Well, you have seen them before, and where you've seen them is in the base recipe. So let's quickly head into our, let's have a look, Uma content, Uma core, human male, and in the recipes here we are. So the human male DCS base recipe, if we have a look in there, we saw these earlier on and I kept saying, yeah, we'll have a look at these later. Here are our shared colours in our recipe, and as you can see, they just appeared white when they were created. Okay, there's 3 sets of colours here. There's the colour multiplier and additive. These are the ones that turned up. There are these other texture modifiers which we won't touch for the moment. We're really just interested in these top 2. So this is our actual colour or tint, and this is our gloss and metallic channel here. So we can add colours. We can create another one here, so we'll add a shared colour. You could open it up. We could say this one's called, I don't know, toes. Yes. Let's get rid of the shared colour stuff. In fact, no, we can get rid of the whole thing. We could change the colour and say toes are always going to be this lovely deep pink. We're not going to do that, but I just want to show you it's very easy to actually add and adjust these. How are these used? Well, when you add a slot to a recipe, which has been done for us, again, let's just collapse everything to make this nice and easy to see. Here are our slots. Let's have a look at the male eyes. If we open this up, it's actually been given a slot. Let's just collapse these 2 things here. So it's been given a slot called Uma Human Male Eyes. So that is, if you remember, that is the mesh. And also on that mesh, there are 2 overlays, so 2 sets of textures been added. The first one is the basic eye, and you can see it's been given a slightly grey colour here. You'll notice that a tick box used shared colour. That's not been used on this. This is a basic straightforward eye. It tends to be used just to give the eyeball this redness, so we've actually got some real feel rather than it just being plain white. If we collapse that overlay again and open this default eye adjust, this one here, if you look, it purely affects the actual center of the eye. So this is where our colour is added, and you can see here this use shared colour has been ticked, and it's basically gives it a drop down which lets us pick from our shared colours we have created up the top. So the whole point of this is we can either have that unticked and we can forcibly say that this item will always be whatever colour we put in here, or we can say use a shared colour, and I want you to read that shared colour from one of these items listed up here. Now, how does that make a difference? This seems a bit weird. Why would we either change the colour here and keep it fixed, or just have the colour defined up here somewhere separate and then reference it. Well, the beauty of these things is, I don't want you to fiddle with these ones, we're going to make our own shortly, but the beauty of this is when we come to run our character, you saw before how we can look at the object and we can fiddle with the colours. What we can also do is before we run, we can define a colour. So let's create a colour. That one was called skin, wasn't it? And what happens when I type skin in here, and let's change that to a lovely blue. Okay, what happens when that recipe gets loaded up? The first thing it does is it looks for a shared colour called skin. If it finds one, it will then apply that to the slot or the overlay. Yep. If it doesn't find one, it will load its own defined skin colour up, and that will appear in the list. So if you watch here, it won't add a new skin colour. It will still add the hair, it will still add the eyes, but it won't add a new skin colour. Instead, it's going to read this and modify our character. Let's have a look at this. And there we go. So you can see it's added these two shared colours, but instead of adding a new skin colour, it's read what was already there. Now this is great because it allows you to set a race for your character. It allows you to set the eye colour, it allows you to set the hair colour. Now we haven't got any hair on this Uma at the moment, but if I look at, let's put some on, if I look at, let's go into the examples, human male recipes, let's find hair 2. There it is, male hair 2. So we'll open up our default wardrobe. Let's put male hair 2 on there. Again, before we start, let's just have a look at the recipe here. And you can see, where is it, male hair 2? It actually has a set of shared colours defined. Skin, hair and eyes again. If we have a look down here, there's only one slot and one overlay, and it's using the shared colour hair. So again, let's run and let's see what happens. Okay, we have our hair and it's picking up this white tint. So again, let's stop, let's go in here, let's add another colour to our actual character, and again we know we want to call this hair, and let's say our character wants, let's have a nice brownish sort of colour for his hair. Okay, so again what's going to happen when it runs, instead of adding a hair, this slot is going to read the hair colour. So let's see that in action, and there we go. Now when you think about it, most items of clothing we wouldn't necessarily use shared colours, we would directly tint them within the recipe. However, if you're doing a team game, for example, you could have on every outfit, one of the colours could be the team colour. So the blue team would always have a blue sash, whatever piece of clothing they wear. So really, really flexible system. What I'm going to do in the next one, we'll do this together. We're going to look in our next episode at buying assets from the store, or even looking at perhaps creating our own. I'm going to provide you with some, and we're going to build our own recipes. So we're going to add our own colours, maybe our own shared colour. We're going to add our own meshes and our own overlays to create custom characters. Okay, so I hope that was useful, and I will see you in the next episode. And once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to my patrons for making this possible. If you would like to support me, feel free to click that link at the end of the video. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.